mood where it is charged up, or where you are like in a church or at a funeral session where you are just mourning and things like that. Questions and answers. What is the question in life? When we were in primary school, this is the technique that we dreaded most, because each time you come, you have to answer 10 questions. Usually it was a multiplication table. So each mistake you made, you were equipped. So if you had made 10 and not 10 mistakes, 10 whippings, because we are doing right. Then, why take notes? That is another point there. Information not found in the text. Information found. You become a more active listener. When I go around to houses, area 18 and places like that, usually they have something displayed in some kind of a portrait form. I'm sure you have also seen that. What is the writing in that one? In some houses where these guys are very good guys. So then, someone was saying something, and I think it sounded correct. What is that? Christ is what? Christ is the head of this house, and definitely deciding to listen to every conversation. So this one is not about the inside, but it's active listening. Well, I think he actively listening because I'm told when you go up there is this book of deeds. Then when you come, they open that book and they say, on the 3rd April, you were in the English for academic purposes lesson. And instead of listening to the lecture, you were browsing on your phone. It's up there, see? So you atone for your sins up there for browsing on the phone instead of listening. Second, the methods. So you have got the methods there. Scanner method, outline methods, mapping, charting, and sentences and paragraph methods. Now, in the control methods, again you have got some sub-points going on. On the outline method, again you have sub-points going. You have main point there, AB, point number 2, 1, 2, on some point, then you have A. You can see that this main point is different from this one. Right? This one is Roman, this one is Arabic. I hope you know the difference between the Roman and the Arabic. The Arabs are very intelligent people. They came up with things which are very simple, simpler than the Roman system. Just imagine where the Arabs didn't invent this, and then we were using the Roman system of writing and so on. Very, very cumbersome. That is the subject or the topic. May just have ideas supporting facts or ideas. Another division, additional facts or additional supports. So when do you use the marketing method? You use this method when the lecture content is well organized. And it is often very effective when you have got some guest lecturer and have no idea of how the lecture will be presented. You have come to listen to somebody and then you have no idea of how the lecture is going to be presented. During Easter, we had a guest preacher. Amati Tawi Akisi. So, we had no idea of how she was going to preach. So the main idea we had was, okay, this is Easter. This lady is going to preach about the resurrection of Christ. So if I was doing a mapping there, then the main idea was the resurrection of Christ. But then she had sub-points. And to our surprise, one sub-point was she was talking about herself. That she knows that she will be going straight to heaven. And we are demons. So she has come to revenge us from our sins. So that was the first. And then the second was to talk about her family. That she had a very abusive husband and so on and so forth. And then she would drag the husband sometimes when she has come from drinking and things like that. But when she got born again, she forgave the husband sins. So she kept on talking and things like that. At the end there I was reflecting. Should I really have come here or maybe something I could have done something else and so much. Right? So when you are not sure about what the guest lecture is going to be talking about, this one is very, very useful because from the main point you are able to get some point and then from there you abstract other points and so on. It is effective if you are mainly a visual learner. Advantages of this method: it helps to keep a visual track of the lecture, and it is very easy to see the relationships between fact and the idea, and it can also cover lines for memory review and for relationships. The disadvantage of this method is that you may not hear changes in context from major points to facts. And sometimes the method can be visually overwhelming. Just imagine, with all those, so it can be visually overwhelming. The next method is chunking method. In this method, you make use of columns with appropriate heading labels in a table format. In other words, materials in this method are presented in a chronological order. This method determines, in this charting method, what you do is you determine categories to be covered in the lecture, and then you set paper ahead of time. You organize, or you make the paper, you rule it ahead of time by drawing columns with determined categories as headings for each. And then you are placing information in the appropriate column. So this is an example. You have drawn your columns there. And then you let's say you draw periods 1941 to 1945. Important persons. Who is FDR? FDR. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Event World War II. Significance USA involvement in World War II. So 1939 to 1945. Important people? No. Someone said Adolf Hitler. Event World War II. Significance Germany. German involvement or German starting the war or something like that, right? So that's how you do a charting method. So again, in this method, you have got categories there, periods, important people, events, significance, supporting information. When do you use this method? You use this method when you are very sure that you are preparing for examination, and then the test will focus on both facts and the relationships. And when you want an overview on one piece of paper in sequence. So this is more or less a summary. Advantages of this method is that it reduces the amount of writing that is needed, and it also provides an easy overview of the whole topic, and it facilitates memorization and comparing of facts. Because there are two aspects to study. There is a bit of memorization which you have got to do, but at the same time you have to be able to compare and relate facts. The disadvantage is that you have to learn how to develop effective categories. But at the same time, you have to be fully attentive. You must be fully engaged in the lesson. No distractions, no hangovers. You must be fully engaged. The last one is the sentence or paragraph method. This one involves a recording of complete thoughts and concepts. In this method, you write every new thought fact or topic that is being presented, and then you use a new line for each new thought or fact. And then you number the lines as you progress. For example, 1. Not taking 101. 1. We take notes when the instructor offers new ideas to facilitate learning and remembering. 2. To take notes need to prepare, as you can see there. This is where now you use abbreviations. You use symbols because you are taking notes, but you are not writing each and every word that comes out of the mouth of the lecturer. I.e. Kano method and so on, right? Instead of that is. Right? So you use abbreviations to expedite the process. Expedite means quicken the process. When do you use the sentence method? When the lecture is somewhat organized, not very organized, but somewhat organized. When there is a lot of content and it is coming very fast, so you don't have time to write each and every word that comes along, so you use abbreviations. And when the instructors present in point fashion, but not in lists, advantages. The advantage of the sentence or paragraph method is that you are able to capture almost all the information that you require. The disadvantage is that you cannot determine the major or minor points from the numbering sequence, because the number is as things come. As the lecturer is talking, you are writing 1, 2, and so on. So you cannot differentiate which one is the major and which one is the minor. That one you do when you are digesting. Or in your biology class, we used to have what are called the ruminants. What do ruminants do? They regurgitate and then they start enjoying the grass after vomiting it into their mouths from the stomach. So you vomit it into your head and then you start regurgitating. So you are also ruminants in that respect, aren't you? These advantages, you cannot determine major points from minor points, and it is difficult to edit without having to totally rewrite. So these are the methods. Now, can we look at some basic tips. The basic tip number one is concentration. You cannot be doing two things at once, so you have to concentrate. Whether you are listening to the lecture or when you are reading, whether you are reading. Take notes selectively. Do not try to write every word. On average, lecturers speak approximately 125 to 140 words per minute. Average note takers write approximately 25 words per minute. So you can see there, you cannot be writing each and everything that comes along. So you have to do selective writing. Use your own words. Be brief. Focus on major points and major information. When your lecturer is lecturing about Adolf Hitler, they will tell you that well, Adolf Hitler may have been influenced to kill the Jews because a Jewish girl rejected him in Vienna. That is not a major point, because it could be hearsay. Many young boys or young girls get rejected along the way. But do they go to the extent of killing a whole nation because one girl rejected them, one boy rejected them? So you concentrate on the major point. Write legibly. Sometimes it is laughable when people puzzle themselves, they can't even read their own writing or decipher their own writing. So write legibly. Write what you can read. Don't worry about grammar or spelling at this point. Write what you can understand. You should be able to know what to write. How you are going to remember important points. This is where now we say look. If you are listening carefully, the lecturer will usually plan before or after an important idea. The lecturer tends to write important ideas on the board or in PowerPoint form. They will usually repeat to emphasize important points. As I always say, most lecturers will use an introductory phrase when they are saying something which is important. An important point to remember is this. A critical consideration is this. You need to mark ideas emphasized in the lecture with an arrow or a special symbol. You need to write down examples which the instructor presents and note them as yes. Because when you are answering questions, examples are very important. And when you are giving examples, you may not give the same example that the lecturer gave, but you would give a similar example. That makes the lecturer smile and give you all the points. Because they are now convinced that you are listening. But if you write everything without any example, even Jesus was giving examples when he was teaching. And those are the examples that the preacher was telling us on Sunday. That on the resurrection day, Trump went to a church. And what did he do? What did Trump do when he went to church? So we are not following Donald Trump. He inaugurated the Bible here, right? Where he said, well, with this Bible, they are going to make America great again. And then the Bible is selling at $60. So someone commented that, well, okay, America doesn't need the Bible, which is endorsed by Donald Trump, of all people. You need to mark ideas emphasized in the lecture with an arrow. You need to pay close attention to transitional words for phrase. So usually there are some transitional words or phrases, right? Words such as therefore, finally, furthermore. Usually these words signal important ideas. You also need to listen very carefully to signal words. There are 3 reasons why. First, second, third, and the most important, a major development. So those are the main ideas. And those signal words that indicate support material. On the other hand, for example, for instance, similarly, also, furthermore, in contrast, signal words that signify conclusion or summary. Therefore, in conclusion, as a result, finally, in summary, from this we can see, or signal words that are often said very loudly. Now, this is important. Remember this. When the He says giant. But you are ready to go. Cross the bed giant. When the cock crows 3 times, you, Peter, you are going to reject me 3 times. The important idea is that the basic concept is this. Thank you for listening. I hope now we are ready to take notes in the class. So the choice is yours. Whichever method you want to use, the key is listening carefully. Any questions? Well, if there are no questions, then remember, not taking the critical college success skill. The more you practice, the more proficient you will become. If you select a method and use it often, you can really improve your technique. With good note-taking techniques, you will soon be able to record the fastest instructor to your satisfaction and have a great study tool to use when preparing for your assignment and your examinations. So how do you conclude in French? Or in Russian? Who knows Russian here? So, how do you say thank you in Russian? Спасибо. Вот remercie is what? Shukran. Shukran is what? Arabic.
Perfect.